What is good, everybody? Hello, hello. Welcome to 2021. We made it. We made it. If you're new, hello. My name is Juliana Page. I'm a professional life coach, and I do a couple of things that you can connect with me through. I do a podcast a couple of times a week. It's called Spirit-Filled Real Talk with Juliana, so you can find that wherever you get your podcasts. I am a professional life coach, so I release content here on YouTube once a week, and you can also follow me over on Instagram, and you can find ways to connect with me, whether it's courses, programs, a blog, over at julianapage.com. So now that that's out of the way, something else that I do, I believe in practical wisdom. I live by it because I know the pain of not having wisdom or not having mentors or not having people that you can look up to, particularly when you are called to break generational curses, to establish a new legacy, and you've never seen it before. Like, what are you supposed to do, right? So I believe in wisdom. So something that I do is I deliver Wisdom Wednesday words. So it is Wednesday. This is a Wisdom Wednesday word. But to really make sure that I'm serving and delivering word that is relevant and something that you need to hear like yesterday, right? I have started opening up my inbox and opening up my messages to people to send me questions. So I just call it Ask Juliana, and you can send me questions. I was starting to get many messages about, can you help me with this? This isn't working. And the best way that I can address these, because I can't be in my inbox all day, is to bring the questions that are the most consistent together and start delivering them, okay? And giving my feedback. All right, now this is feedback and wisdom that I am delivering, but this is something that you always want to pray about. It's something that you want to work with a coach on to really make sure that you're getting accountability and the best results. And it's something that you really want to put through your own system to make sure that it's relevant to you before you just take it verbatim. Okay. So the question that I have for Ask Juliana on today is, why is it not working? Right? Have you ever had that thought? Why is it not working? So think about this in your own world. This could be, maybe you've tried all the workout programs, right? And you're just not losing the weight. You're just not feeling better. You just feel bloated. You feel tired and it's just not working. Or maybe you tried all the dieting supplements, right? And you've meal prepped and you've done portion control and you've taken this shake and you've done all the things, but you're not losing weight. You just have this stubborn weight that you can't get rid of, right? So maybe you had another relationship disappointment and you just feel like dating or being in relationship with other humans is just not working, right? Like, am I ever going to find the one? Am I ever going to advance that next step in my life? Maybe you feel like you have moved into another job and you've really committed your time there. You've been diligent about showing up with excellence and serving, and you're not being honored, you're not being respected, your opinion isn't being valued, and you haven't been promoted after all this time, and it's just not working. After all of these years and all of your education, it is just not working, right? Or maybe you've been really walking with a child through an education issue, right? And they're just not getting it. Whatever you're doing, the ways that you're offering tutoring and support, it's just not working, okay? So we all face this question. We all hit this wall, so to speak, where we just get into this place where we sit and we're like, it's just not working. I feel stuck. This is overwhelming. And we start getting very much into monkey mind and we just talk ourselves into frustration and anger and overwhelm and just straight into procrastination, really, where we don't want to take any new action. We're not open to creative solutions. We don't even want to assess, is it true? Is it true that it's not working, right? Like, I get the pain and I get the frustration, but is it true that it's not working? So what I want to talk through here are a couple of things that might be going on when you find yourself asking this question in your own life. And then I'm also going to present an alternative that could be happening here. Now, I know this because I practice these things in my life. I work with clients every day. So I've really been diligent about how I ask questions and what I take as true, okay? So I'm going to take you through some of the things that I do here as well. All right, so the first thing that could be going on here is that you had unrealistic expectations from the jump. Okay, this is what I like to call an expectation hangover. Okay, not that any of you have, ever had a hangover from alcohol before and know what that means, but an expectation hangover, let's say you just feel groggy, you feel tired, you feel foggy in your mind, you don't have any energy, you just want to sleep, right? You don't want to think about it at all. So having unrealistic expectations can create this expectation hangover because we thought that it was going to be this. We thought that it was going to be that. And we have this bar and it didn't come anywhere near that. Okay. So we are dealing with unmet expectations and an expectation hangover. That could be part of it. I entered this program, this assignment, this job, this whatever it is for you, with this unrealistic expectation, right? I gave it too much. I expected too much from it without knowing what was really going on here, without even realizing what the expectations are, what's going to be required of me to be successful with this, okay? So that could be the first thing going on. Number two, you may have underestimated the amount of effort it would require of you. And this happens a lot. We grossly underestimate the amount of effort change takes. We grossly underestimate the amount of effort leadership requires. We grossly underestimate the amount of consistency it's going to take to get a result. Okay. And in the world that we live in, a lot of times we see results without seeing process. So we just expect that we're supposed to get it immediately. And if we don't, it must not be for us, or there is something wrong with us. Okay. So you either underestimated the amount of effort that was going to be required of you, or for example, if you are in a business or if you are in a leadership position or a management position, you underestimated the amount of value you would need to create to produce impact, okay? We can never assume that somebody is just going to change if we give them the tools. We can never assume that somebody's just going to get it the first time that we present something, okay? We actually have to create value and keep showing up and keep creating value to have impact. But often we don't recognize that, and that can lead to this frustration. And we could be so close to a breakthrough, but we already feel like we've given all we got. We don't have anything left, okay? That may also reveal, side note, a lack of self-care practices or a lack of activities that feed and fuel your soul, that are actually vital necessities, in my opinion. So that's number two. Number three is you possibly don't have breakthrough in the area that you are wanting breakthrough in. This is a big one, okay? So again, if you are in a leadership position, if you're parenting, if you're in a management position, if you're running your own business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are stepping into something new, you might not have breakthrough in that area yet. And you are pushing and forcing and trying to hustle your way to prove that you have breakthrough, but the motive is off. It's subtle, but the motive is off, right? So for example, I talk about vibes a lot. Okay. And a vibe is a frequency. It's something that is felt. It's something that's experienced. It's kind of like, this is a gross example, but it's kind of like body odor. Okay. If somebody smells really good, you're like, oh my God, you smell amazing. What perfume are you wearing? Right. And if somebody smells really bad, you try to remove yourself from that environment like ASAP. It is the same with energy, right? A person doesn't have to say a word. There's even that quote. Before you even step into a room, your energy introduces you, right? So sometimes we have this belief, right, that we're going to get this result, that a year from now, this is going to happen. And if this doesn't happen, then this needs to happen, right? And we actually don't have breakthrough. Okay. And so when we don't have breakthrough, we're motivated by fear. We've got funky energy going on. And that leads us to push and to force and to take all this action. but it's not aligned at all. So all that's doing is pushing people away and repelling people. So what could be an issue here is that you actually need to do the internal work to get breakthrough first so that you can release breakthrough and carry breakthrough and transformation for other people. Okay. So when it's not working, these are some of the things that I want to present to you could be going on beneath the surface. Okay. Which is the majority of where life is, right? Now, what I want to present to you may not be your expectation. May not be what you're expecting, and it might not be what you want to hear, but a lot of times that's what coaching is. Coaches don't tell you this charming stuff that just pleases your ears. Coaches tell you what's going to change you and what's going to bring breakthrough in your life and what can radically transform your life if you so choose. Ultimately, you have to do the work. But this is huge, and I recognize this a lot, okay? A lot of times we are asking the wrong question. We're asking the wrong question. So for example, a question like this, why is it not working? If you ask yourself why it's not working, all you're going to do is come up with reasons like I just did that are all potential possibilities, okay? But why that's a problem is you're going to just come up with a ton of proof as to why it's not working. Okay. And what is that going to do? It's not going to motivate you to take action. It's not going to bring creative solutions. It's just going to make you feel like crap and keep you stuck and keep you down. Okay. So when we ask the wrong question, we get the wrong answers, because often when we're asking a question like that, why is it not working? It's revealing our belief. And it's actually a victim mindset that's highlighting here. Okay. So ask a different question. All right. A different question could be, but maybe it did work. What if it did work? Okay. Hear me out. What if it did work? So for example, you might have gone into something expecting that it was going to look like somebody else's results, expecting that it was going to produce X, Y, or Z. I see this a lot with folks that have a brand new business, which is essentially a baby, and they're asking their baby to produce like an adult. It's not going to happen, right? So what if it is working though? Maybe it did work. So sometimes we go into things expecting a certain outcome when really it was teaching us or building lessons and building a case for something totally different. An example in my own life, I went into a position that I never dreamed that I would be in corporate America. Was never a desire of mine at all, right? And I never saw myself doing any of that kind of work. It just did not seem like a fit. I would not have pursued it by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm in this position and I am being moved up the corporate ladder and pretty fast, right? I have this fast track, right? Which is all God. However, this is not what I enjoyed and I didn't get it, okay? Because where I came from, I left a lifestyle that I absolutely loved and that I was happy with to do something that I initially thought was less than, okay? And I didn't understand it. I didn't get it, but I knew that I was supposed to be there. I just didn't get why. Now, if I would have kept asking why, I would have been miserable. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why do I have to keep showing up for this, right? If I asked that, I would dig myself into a hole of depression and be totally ineffective and not have the growth track, okay? Now, what I started to recognize in time is that it was a humbling experience, because how many of you know when you are going to be elevated, a lot of times you're humbled first so that whatever you're elevated to doesn't have you, right? If it's going to crush you, a lot of times God is not going to give it to you. And there's a maturation process that needs to happen. And so I still had a lot of growth and a lot of maturity. And a lot of it was around humility. A lot of it was breaking off entitlement. A lot of it was being willing to do anything. Are you willing to do anything because it's what God called you to? Are you willing to do that, right? So it was incredibly empowering. It was also a breaking and a pruning experience, okay? So breaking off old mindsets, pruning off things that needed to be cut so that I could flourish, right? So whenever we prune a plant, we do it so that it can blossom and be even more beautiful, right? So I was going through that process. I didn't like it, but if I would have gotten caught up in the why, I would have been going after the wrong question, okay? So maybe you're asking the wrong question. Maybe it did work. that did work because it was an essential part of my journey. The character development, the growth, the maturity, the learning that happened there, the acceleration that I walked through, the dependence on God that I had to have every day. I learned so much, but it was not what I could wrap my head around, especially while I was in it, okay? Now, instead of getting caught up in a question like this is the homework, this is the challenge, this is the inner work. I recommend one of these things. One, I personally keep, and I recommend keeping a thought journal so that you can start becoming more aware of what you're thinking about on a consistent basis. I also recommend doing a thought download and start challenging the way that you're thinking. If you don't like the way you're thinking, stop thinking like that. Change it, and you can. So I'm going to give you a simple formula that you can use. Okay? So just hear me out. There is a circumstance that leads to a thought, that leads to a feeling, that leads to an action, that leads to a result. This is not complicated, okay? So the circumstance in this example could be, but it's just not working. I'm not losing weight. The thought is, I am never going to lose weight and this is horrible. The feeling is, I'm a failure and I'm depressed, right? And I'm ugly or not beautiful in some kind of way, right? The action is inaction, okay? And then the result is gaining more weight, possibly. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So the flip would be, I'm not going to accept that. Living a victim lifestyle is not what I'm about. I am the head, not the tail. I'm above only, never beneath. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it to what I want to believe, right? To what I know to be true. And God's word reveals what's true here, right? Some of the words that I just said. If I'm the head, not the tail, what is the new circumstance that I'm after, right? Okay, so the new circumstance is, I am getting amazing results in my fitness journey. All right. Then the new thought is, it feels so good to keep promises with myself. The new feeling is confident. Okay. The new action is consistent workouts every day, maybe a meal plan, whatever it is. Right. And then the results are losing weight, consistently showing up, building confidence, right? Everything that you're after. Maybe just feeling good in your body, having more energy. Okay. So what I want to highlight today in this Ask Juliana is that what is the main key here is that the question that you're asking may not be serving you. So instead of asking why, a lot of times asking why it's not working doesn't always produce the best result. Sometimes it can when you're honest with yourself, but if you're just doing it out of a pity party, it's not going to serve you. So my recommendation to you on today would be to ask a better question and then to also do thought downloads and challenge what you're thinking so that you start thinking in alignment with who you are and with where you're going. And that will ultimately bring different results that you're after in your life. Okay? So I hope this message blessed you. If it did, make sure that you give me some feedback. I'm also going to drop below a way that you can send me your questions. I'll put my email address so that you can send me a message. If there's something that you have a question on that you want addressed here, just let me know. All right, guys, until next time, stay blessed.